The amplified veil held, pushing back the chaotic assault of the Pale Court, but the cost was a searing drain on the Shadow Queen. The voice of the curse, ancient and insidious, whispered inside her mind. Kael's voice, yet laced with a hunger that was distinctly not his. "Feed me, little host, give me the light." The words echoed, demanding, consuming. The raven-haired woman clenched her jaw, maintaining the energy flow, feeling the profound exhaustion settle deep in her bones. Kael stood beside her, his face a mask of grim understanding, witnessing the true price of the power she now wielded. The roles had reversed, but the suffering remained. The siege engines of the Pale Court finally began to withdraw, their magical constructs crumbling under the sustained pressure of the amplified veil. Lady Malice, the Fey leader, cast one last furious glance at the citadel before her spectral form dissipated into the icy mist. The immediate threat was gone, but the cost was evident in the tremor in the raven-haired woman's hands, the profound pallor of her skin. She had saved Viridian, but the curse had claimed a deeper toll. Kael moved swiftly, supporting her as she staggered, guiding her back through the citadel. The lesser shadow creatures and immortal guards, who had witnessed her power, now bowed with a reverence they had never shown him. Her throne was secured, not by conquest, but by brutal public display of power. Back in Kael's private chambers, now her chambers, he poured the dark, steaming potion that dulled the curse's drain. The raven-haired woman drank it without hesitation, feeling the cold, numbing relief spread through her. "You defended the veil," Kael stated, his voice low, his eyes burning with a complicated mix of awe and resentment. "You commanded the heart. Your reign is acknowledged by the court and feared by our enemies. But you also tasted its true hunger." "It demands more than energy," the raven-haired woman said, her voice hoarse. "It demands essence. It wants to consume everything." Kael nodded. "It has always been thus. It is why I sought to break its tether, why I feared for the previous queen. It consumed her entirely, leaving only a memory of power." His gaze was intense. "The curse requires a balance, a constant source of raw light to feed on, or it devours the host. That is why I need you, Ilara, and that is why you cannot afford to hate me." The raven-haired woman looked at him, the weight of her stolen crown settling heavily on her shoulders. She had taken his power, but she was still bound to his fate, still dependent on his knowledge. "Tell me everything. Tell me how to control it without letting it consume me. Tell me how to survive this." Kael spent the next few days not as her consort, but as her unwilling mentor. He guided her through the nuances of the curse, teaching her how to channel its hunger, how to draw just enough energy without overextending herself. He revealed ancient lore, the true history of the Shadow Court, its rise, and the devastating pact that had bound his ancestors to the curse. He explained the complex magical ecosystem of Viridian, how the veil was intertwined with the ley lines, and how the stability of the Shadow Court was essential to preventing a chaotic magical fallout that would devastate the mortal world. He showed her the ancient prophecies hinting at a coming great balance, a convergence of light and shadow that would either break or remake the world. During these intense, demanding lessons, an unspoken intimacy began to grow between them. It wasn't the volatile passion of their forced binds, but a deeper, more dangerous understanding. He saw her fragility beneath the fierce power, and she saw his profound burden beneath the cold tyranny. The thorn vine mark on her chest pulsed with a steady, aching warmth when they were close, no longer painful, but a constant, undeniable link. One evening, while studying a particularly dense tome on ancient runes, Kael paused. "Lady Malice of the Pale Court," he began, his voice tight. "She is relentless. She will not give up her claim on Viridian. Her power is tied to the lunar cycle, and the next blood moon is approaching. That is when she will strike with her full might. And the veil, even amplified by you, may not hold." The raven-haired woman slammed the book shut, a cold dread washing over her. "What do you propose?" Kael looked at her, his eyes dark and resolved. "There is one final artifact, hidden deep within the heart of the Pale Court's own dominion, a relic of pure celestial light. It is called the Moonforged Chalice. If we can combine its power with the obsidian heart, we may create a magical resonance that can permanently seal the veil and repel the Pale Court for good." "Steal from the Pale Court?" she echoed, a thrill of the old thief returning. "That's a suicide mission, Kael. Their dominion is protected by the moon itself." "It is our only option," Kael stated.
The chalice is guarded by Lady Malice's most devoted elite, the Lunar Sentinels. They are unyielding, and they respond only to pure light or pure shadow. He paused, his gaze fixed on the raven-haired woman. "You are neither. You are the perfect blend. The curse in your blood, the stolen light in your soul. You are the only one who can breach their defenses." "And you?" she challenged. "You'll stay here, guarding the veil?" Kael gave a wry, humorless smile. "I am bound to the citadel, Alara. The heart is within you. Without you, I cannot leave. Our fates are intertwined. You go, or we both fall." The choice was clear. She had claimed the throne, and now she had to fight its wars. But a new danger emerged as their alliance solidified. The curse, sensing her acceptance of the throne, began to subtly influence her. She found herself growing colder, more ruthless, less empathetic. The memories of her father, though lost, left behind a residue of cold, righteous anger. The line between Alara and the Shadow Queen blurred. One afternoon, while reviewing strategy, the raven-haired woman noticed a subtle shadow moving through the archives, a figure not of Kael's court, but a spy from an unknown faction. The figure moved with unnatural silence, planting a small crystalline shard beneath an ancient tome. The curse flared within her, demanding swift, merciless judgment. She moved with a speed that startled Kael, her shadow-infused hand closing around the spy's throat before the figure could react. It was a lesser demon, a creature of pure malice, working for an unknown master. "Who sent you?" the raven-haired woman demanded, her voice an icy whisper, her grip tightening, the raw power of the curse threatening to consume the demon whole. Kael's hand clamped down on her arm. "Ilara, control. Do not let the curse consume him. We need information." She fought the urge to simply crush the demon. The curse wanted to feed, wanted to destroy. But Kael's touch, the anchor of his command, pulled her back from the brink. She released the demon, throwing it against the wall with a blast of shadow energy that knocked it unconscious but alive. "My apologies, consort," she said, her voice chillingly calm. "The curse sometimes demands discipline." Kael looked at her, his eyes filled with a dawning fear. He saw the cold calculation, the growing ruthlessness that was not entirely her own. He saw the curse winning. "The greatest danger is not the Pale Court, Alara," Kael whispered, his voice tight with desperation. "It is the insidious hunger within you. The curse will twist your heart until you become an echo of its own malice. You will lose yourself to the throne, and then there will be nothing left for me to save." He looked at her, not as his queen, but as the mortal woman he was desperately trying to keep from total consumption. The lines of their enemies to lovers dynamic had blurred to the point of tragedy. He, the Shadow King, was now fighting to save the soul of the thief who had stolen his crown, and she, the Shadow Queen, was fighting a war she didn't know how to win, against the very power that sustained her. The final theft, the Moonforged Chalice, was her only hope, but it might also be her final downfall. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button so YouTube shows it to more people, and watch the rest of the story in the next video.